Okay. Good morning, everyone. This day is the beginning of the holiday, or I guess you could say it began yesterday, but I was thinking of it yesterday myself as I was preparing this talk. And this is the beginning of the celebration of the birthday of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Most of the country celebrates this day, and I think it's a holiday, a national holiday, and so a lot of people get the day off from work on this day tomorrow. And some don't, but that's good, and for the rest of us who need them and whatever service they provide. So I want to talk about something that occurs in the scriptures in the 8th chapter of John, the 28th verse. It's when Jesus says to the people that are surrounding him, he says to them, "Those of you who will follow my teachings and obey them, you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free," or "the truth will make you free." Now, I've talked about this before because I think it's very important for us, but I'm going to elaborate more on it than I have in past talks. Set free or made free. Is there a difference between these two terms? I think there is. I think there's a great difference between the two. One is in the outer and one is in the inner. And I like to use these examples, two of these examples. One is the example of how to train a pachyderm, an elephant. Some of you know this, that the elephants with the little short ears, the African elephants, are really tough. It's really hard to train them to do anything you wish them to do. They're just ornery. They are blessed in the idea of not being able to be tamed, to be used as beasts of burden. But that's not true with the rest of the elephants that have larger ears. Those elephants can be tamed, and it has been done for millennia, training them. Truly, in over 1,000 years, this has been the way this is done. They take these elephants when they are a baby, and they keep the mother by so that the baby can nurse, but they chain its leg, its hind leg, to a post driven in the ground. It's either a chain or a big tough rope made from hemp, probably. And they keep this on this, and the baby can only stray as far as this will allow it to be done. Also, the person who is training them, he is called a mahout, which means the driver or the trainer. He is the master, and he carries with him about a 3-foot long wooden or iron or some other material little stick with a hook on the end of it. And he can hook this into the flesh, not in a harmful way, but just in those wrinkles that are on him, and pull him a little bit and guide him the way they want him to be guided. They do this for years, and he tries and strains to get off of this to the point where he no longer strains to get off of this, and he just creates in his own mind that this is my limit. This is all I have. This is as far as I can go, and it's silly for me to try to strain anymore. I just don't have the strength within me to go beyond this. Even to the point that later in his life, the mahout can take this rope off of this stake, hold it in his hand, and with this little prod that I was talking about, he can kind of tap this little baby elephant and lead him wherever he wants to lead him. And the elephant will go and walk as far as he can go, but he thinks he's still chained to this stake in the ground. He can be led far away. He can everything can change for him in his life, but he always remains in his mind chained to this stake in the ground, even though the end of that rope is being held by his mahout. As time passes, he grows. He gets large enough to be a teenage elephant and so forth, but he still has this mindset that he can only go this 20 feet or so, 25 feet. That's as far as he can go because of this rope. Eventually, it gets to the point where the mahout can remove the rope from his leg, and he will stay there with the mahout as long as is necessary. He's then trained to be whatever he wants to be. The mahout can ride him. He can use him as a beast of burden, which they do a lot. He can pull heavy loads. He can lift logs and bamboo and whatever it is that they want and put them in place. And he becomes a total beast of burden, and he's totally tamed and trained to do what is wished by his driver, his mahout. That's kind of like we are too. But I'll get to that in a minute. I want to give you another example. There used to be, still is maybe in some areas, especially in Great Britain, where this was very popular, and in Germany, Denmark, where it was very popular, a thing that is called a flea circus. Now, I don't know if you're aware of this, but a flea can jump. He has no wings, so he has these powerful hind legs. And they have sort of a trigger mechanism on them where he can load up the energy and pow, he can jump. How far can he jump? He can jump over 1,000 times his length. He can jump that far. His length is very small, but he can jump a long ways. It plays good for him, for a flea, him or her. It plays very good for them because they can jump into the fur or the feathers of a duck, a bird, a dog, whatever it might be, a cat, a human. And they can get in there, and if any of you have ever had the awful experience of having an outside cat come in, release his fleas into the carpets in your house, and suddenly you find yourself scratching first all around your ankles and knees and so forth, and then after a while you're scratching in your scalp and you're thinking, what's going on here? Fleas. They multiply immediately, very fast, and like I said, they can jump 1,000 times their own length. Now, their length may be less than a millimeter, but they can really jump out there. If you capture these fleas and put them inside a container and just feed them a little drop of blood every now and then, they will get to the point where they lose this ability to jump only as far as the top of the container which you have them in. Their legs become sort of atrophied, and there they are. They're stuck. Well, people take them, put them in matchboxes, and train them this way so that they jump out. Then they go into a saloon or a pub or even in a marketplace, call people forth, and for shilling or whatever they may use, they open the box, and then here's all these little tiny fleas jumping around. It's a flea circus. That's what they call it, a flea circus. They can actually even train them to the point that they can take a small golden wire, wrap it around the neck of a flea, put this up to a coach, and have him pull this little tiny coach around all over the place. And they have him do that as part of the flea circus. It's quite amazing. But the flea can only jump as high as he has been trained to jump. He's lost the ability to jump this 1,000 times. He can only jump as high as the top of the little box when it's opened. And there they are, all these fleas jumping around inside there. And it costs a shilling to watch them. And people watch them. They're amused a little while. He closes it up. And these people walk away. And he says, "Next, anybody else want to see?" And that's it's quite a thing. It's not done too much anymore. But at one time, 100 years ago or so, or maybe even longer, it was really something for people to watch this. And it was very trendy. And they loved watching these fleas jump around. You will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. The truth will make you free. Now let's turn to humans. You know, there were humans that were captured from their own country, put on ships, sailed far away, and if they've had any kind of desire to get back to their country and try to run away and get on a ship, they were punished. Some of them, their arms and legs were cut off, or their foot was cut off. You run, you lose your foot. You try to harm me in any way by hitting me, you lose a hand. They did this in order to train these people, just as the fleas were trained, just as the elephant was trained, just as any other kind of beast of burden or amusement. And these people became a beast of burden for people, especially in plantations in the South. We know this from our own culture. We know that they got to the point where they didn't want to leave, even though there was leave this land that they knew, the only land they knew, the people around them that they knew, and they didn't try to escape their slavery. Now, there were other slaves of other countries. It wasn't all just black people, but they were all treated the same way. For thousands and thousands and thousands of years, this was a common occurrence. And is it totally dead? No, it's still out there. People are still bound into slavery, whatever kind it may be. It may be a slavery of bondage, where they are trapped into believing that they are leaving to go and work in somebody's house, and they will make enough money that they can send it home and help their family. Nope. Their passports are taken away. They are working to take care of people's children. They are working to be a housemaid or something like this, and they never get a chance to leave. They are bound into slavery even to this very day. Do they try to escape? Yes, sometimes, but they are captured and brought back. There's even cases where the police in the area bring them back and say, "You belong here. This is your home now. This is where you live." After a while, their hope, their spirit is broken, and they just accept their fate. This is what happened in the United States of America long, long ago now, fortunately, in the 1800s. Well, we all know these stories. We know what was happening in this. And there's somebody has just jumped in here. I've got to... We know that this is happening. We know that this happened. And we also know that there was a paper, a document that was created and sent out, the Emancipation Proclamation. Guess what, everybody? That you were formerly slaves and you are no longer slaves. You are free. You are free. You are set free. Most of them didn't leave. They didn't try to. They stayed right where they were, and nothing changed for them. Some of them, though, there was a little time there before the carpetbaggers came into the lower states, the southern states, and Jim Crow laws and the Ku Klux Klan and just riots and terror caused them to step back, and they were told not to be uppity. They were told that even though some of them had been elected in their to be in Congress and so forth, they were told those laws and those votes that had happened, those elections, are null and void. You no longer represent, and there were all sorts of taxes which were put up, poll taxes, a review where you had to learn parts of the Constitution or whatever they might say to be able to get people to vote. And they did this to cause them to not go to the polls. They were afraid to go there, to go to the polls and vote. They were set free, but they weren't made free. There was a piece of paper that said, "You're free." Free to do what? Free to be put in ghettos, free to be put in situations where there are certain towns and so forth because of red lines. You can't go in this part of town. You can't buy property in this part of town. You don't belong here. And there are still people who have these kinds of ideas in their minds that I am better than you, and you are not a person who can come into my area. You're set free, but you are not made free. Then along comes, fortunately, a time in our history, in the 1950s, 1940s, 50s, and 60s, right after World War II. Just think of it in a moment. There are all of these men of color and women of color, who have served in the military to protect and defend our country and the United States Constitution. They have gone over, they have done their job, and we know in history many of these. We know of people who were great pilots of airplanes, squadrons, who were all black, and they did this. There were people during the Civil War and other wars who came along and fought in those wars, but yet they were all segregated, set free but not made free. All of this was going on. We know that it's getting a little bit better, and then it will take a step back. 2 steps forward, 1 step back. 1 step forward, a half step back. We are living in a time right now where it seems like the steps forward are being halted. Things are beginning to not be so good for some of the people in our country. And it's usually people whose skin color, if you can imagine, is the melanin in their body is causing them to be persecuted, stopped without probable cause, made to say, show us your papers. All this sort of thing is happening now. Again, set free, but not made free, not allowed to experience the freedom that is stated, that all men, and that includes women in those days, so we can just say all people are created equal. Well, I remember going to a funeral. It was a funeral as opposed to it was the old style funeral. I went back to this funeral, and some of the people from the family that we were sitting around afterwards, like that happens. And the men I was sitting with at this particular table were talking, and I happened to mention this was the days when Obama was president, and this was in Tennessee. And I said something about, well, you know, it's a good thing that we have a president that does it. And they stopped me mid-sentence and said, whoa, wait a minute. He may be your president, but he's not our president. And I just thought, gosh, you know, I thought those kind of ideas were gone. But here they are, alive and well still. He's not our president. Ah, but we all live in the same country. Well, no, you moved. You live up north in Virginia. You no longer live in Tennessee. That was their view. And it was, you know, what would they think now about me living in Pennsylvania? Ooh, yeah, you're really up there. You cross the Mason-Dixon line. It's alive and well. It's still alive and well. It hasn't changed. And here's what I really wanted to talk about and embellish more on this talk. These people that are saying these things, these people that hold these thoughts and beliefs, they're not free either. They're not free at all. They think they are, just like the elephant thinks he is, just like the flea thinks he is. But they're not free either because of something else that goes in that phrase that Jesus proclaimed. You will know the truth, and the truth will make you free, or the truth will set you free, depending on the translation. I think there's a lot of difference. Here they are walking around feeling very confident in the way that they approach life and so forth, seeing themselves as an other with a separate other that they can oversee and overlook, look over and feel like they are superior to. But they are not made free at all. They are not knowing the truth of who they are. They're experienced a truth from the outside world, and they have created that to be the important things in their life. They have distorted their own religious beliefs. They have distorted their own spirituality. They have a belief that they are a person seeking a spiritual experience, which is not true. So what is the truth? As Teilhard de Chardin says, we are a spiritual being experiencing a natural being in the outside world. We are first and most a holy spiritual being. Now, Jesus was trying to teach his followers that we are living as captives by the Romans, and we are living as captives by our religious beliefs. We need to step out of those and realize that we are all one, all children of one being, one truth, one way of looking at life. Once we reach that stage, then we are no longer tethered to these old beliefs and being led around by a mahout, a religious or spiritual mahout. That's no longer happening to us. We are now made free by knowing the truth of who we truly are and who we were made to be. Isn't that wonderful to know that? Isn't that a great experience when that comes to you? How many of you, if you think about it, when you first thought of this idea or it came to you in whatever way it came, something inside you wanted to reject it? Wanted to say, now, wait a minute. Now, you're getting a little far out there now. I don't know if that's really religious or not. Sounds pretty cult-like to me. That was my experience at first, because I was a Bible kid. I had read the Bible, and we had these in Sunday school, and later on in what we called CYF, Christian Youth Fellowship, going on. I was a little junior deacon in the church and so forth. I was stuck in the church. I was stuck in believing that that was the truth, the way the Bible had it been expressed to me. I didn't know anything about the word dogma. I didn't realize that it was somebody else's interpretation of Scripture that had been given to me, that they were my mahout. I didn't realize that at all. I didn't realize that I had an imaginary tether to my brain, to my soul, to my spirit, that I was allowing to be there. It took me a long time to finally let that go. Let it go and experience the idea, and I cried. I cried real tears from deep inside when I realized how joyful this idea, this truth is, that I am a spiritual being having an earthly experience. When you realize that, and you realize that it goes even further, that means that everybody, not just me, because at first the ego wanted to take over and say, well, aren't you special? When there is no speciality to it whatsoever. It is an awakening and an awareness of how we are all deeply connected on a soul, on a spiritual level. This allows us to be made free, set free first and then made free. Set free and then made free. We're no longer tethered to the old way, and we are now open to being made free. Well, something comes along with this made free that's different than the set free. Set free is almost an outer acknowledgement. Okay, that's all well and good, an outer acknowledgement. But the made free is a question. And the question is, okay, if you want to be made free, what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do? Are you going to learn more about your true spiritual self? Are you going to express this in a world and no longer in a negative way or just in a positive way? Are you capable of this? Can you do this in every experience of your life? Well, I got to tell you, it's difficult. It's not an easy thing to be made free. It requires practice on our part to get to the place where we can every day recognize the wholeness and the oneness of all of humanity. Yes, that includes those people that we don't like. Yes, that includes the people that we think are wrong. Yes, that includes the people who are stuck in a way of looking at life only from the outer. Yes, that includes all of those people. It includes children. It includes elders. It includes people of a different color. It includes people who speak a different language. It includes people who experience through tradition and religious beliefs of a different way. It includes them all. It includes all of us, to the point that there is no other out there. It's all oneness. I think we can all, even those of us who are here today in this unity belief system, I think all of us kind of go in and out, in and out, in and out on this. We have a feeling that occurs to us from what we see with our eyes, what we hear with our ears, what we feel inside of us, and the nature of us says, that's wrong. No, it's just different. It's just different. It's wrong if we think that our way is the only way and is the right way. That's not true love, if we're thinking that way. True love is to be able to experience all of these things and say, there is only one presence, there is only one power, God the good, omnipotent and all loving, all peaceful. Yeah, we slip in and out of that. We go back and forth. But so do the electrons in alternating current. And that's sort of what we become. We're no longer caught up in the direct current of a sense of my way or the highway. And we realize we go in and out, in and out. Oh, I see it out there, but I know what the truth is inside me. I am working on myself. I am working on my world to be made free. We're lucky in this country that we live in a system where we are, from our very birth, set free to think and do pretty much as we wish, to go out and pursue whatever job that we wish. We don't take some test and some government employee says, oh, you look like a plumber. You took the test and now you are going to work as you're going to occupational trade school. Oh, you're a scientist. We're going to put you over here. No, we don't do that. We can do it on our own. What freedom that is. Pursue it as we wish. Let's keep that together. Oneness, goodness, holiness in our world. Let us experience that within ourselves and then emanate that into our world. If we do this, then we are made free. God bless each and every one of you. I love you.